Okay, hello. Welcome to the first figure stellar. Name is pending, I guess, but uh, welcome to the first ever video. I decided to make one today because I didn't find a lot of the new Ben Reilly CT toys on YouTube. I was actually kind of looking for a review on scaling, just to see what they look like next to other figures, and I couldn't. I found like one or two, so I went ahead and bought it. Came out to about 22 bucks, and I figured since I had it, maybe that info will work for some other people. Never done this before. I watch a lot of figure reviews, so gonna do my best to try to be informative and try not to chew me up in the comments. But yeah, it just got here about an hour ago. I ripped the bag open, but he's still in the bubble. So I'm gonna try to do my best without a script. Well, it's packed really well. A lot of these, I have a couple of the other CT stuff, and when I get the box, it's like totally crushed and flat. This one so far, it looks like it might have made the whole trip here intact. Yeah, okay, cool. So I'm glad, I bought it and it said CT with box. I was really worried about it not being CT and just like a random other bootleg company, but there's a box. It's from CT. The colors look pretty cool. He looks pretty good from outside. Let's get him open. I guess there's the back of the box if anybody wanted to see it. Here's these look like the stands that come with a lot of, well, I'm sure they come with Mafex. It looks also like the ones that come with figure arts. I don't really like them too much because they take up a lot of room on the base, but here he is inside the tray. I'm gonna pop that open. So I have purchased the 185 Spider-Man that comes with the Peter Parker head. Haven't received it yet, but from what I hear, that head is a disaster. So I'm really curious about what the Ben Reilly head sculpt looks like on this one. So I'm going to start there. Okay. And there he is. Let's see if the camera can focus on him a bit. That actually looks pretty good. I'm going to see how it scales on other like maybe Marvel Legends, but so far it looks pretty clean. It's not totally sharp, but it looks sharp enough. That's a face. So that's cool. Let's take a look at the alternate heads. This is a PS5 Spider-Man head. Let's see if that focuses. Be great if it would. Yeah, there it is. It's a PS5 Spidey head. I think it looks okay. It feels a little small, but yeah, I think it looks fine. And here is, this one looks like the one that comes with the 185. The 185 comes with two Spider-Man heads, and it's like one regular-eyed spider head and then the other like a little more squinting, but they look very similar to me, and that's what this reminds me of. Okay. Bunch of hands. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pairs of hands in total. The magnetic feet, which I probably will switch out. I didn't do it on the Symbiote CT one because I like the blue soles, but for this it doesn't really matter, so I probably will use it. Comes with a bunch of these web accessories, the ones that come with the Mafex. Pretty good quality either way. I don't really love them as much. I think the figure arts come with like my favorite web accessories. They just have the movie ones, but they sit on the wrist like a little better. This is the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man figure arts. It just looks a little more natural to me, and the Mafex have like this big old loop that's just kind of too obvious for me. I have a couple of like indie seller web effects. Maybe I'll show you some of those later, but yeah, pairs of hands. Here's the unmasked mask. It's just kind of a flat on either side Spidey mask. I thought it would come with a handle or something like that, like kind of like a gripping thing, like the Marvel Legends does, but it doesn't. It is just kind of this flat piece of plastic, so I guess any hand that's like, you can just grip. Okay, and now the figure itself. There he is. It feels substantial. Place him down here. Yeah, I mean, by himself, maybe his head looks a little big, but otherwise the proportions look pretty good. Ooh, yeah, the articulation is wonderful. Like it feels like it should. A little gap here on the hinge, on the joint. Sorry, but that's actually a really big gap. If you can see that, but look at that gap compared to this gap. So I don't know if that's just mine. I think if you can kind of work with it and fix it a little bit. That one kind of just went, but it comes back. My original Mafex, actually, the leg here, this part gets stuck all the time, and he kind of just has a knee popping out. It's really annoying. So it's a little smoother than that, which is just saying something. So he has all the standard Mafex articulation. The head moves well, the shoulders move well. I think this shoulder is a little out of place because it looks really thick. Look at the other shoulder. Let's see if I can fix that. Or it popped out. I can't tell. Yeah, that one shoulder is a little. You could see how small this shoulder piece looks compared to this one. So I think I can knock it back in place. It's probably just not properly placed. I don't think it's a figure thing. So something I saw in one of the reviews that actually I was kind of turned off about was just how skinny the midsection was here compared to the, like, I guess the ribs. It actually doesn't look so bad in person. I don't know if on camera it looks worse. I think that the shape of the spider legs make it look a little more closed in. But in person it looks just fine. It doesn't look unnatural or anything, and it poses like a Mafex should. Yeah, I'm gonna keep changing the pronunciation of Mafex and Mafex. One of them has to be right. But yeah, cool. You know, he feels totally solid, which is what I care about the most. You know, the bootlegs. I don't really. Before CT, before everybody started talking about them, I wouldn't really buy any bootlegs because they just feel awful in hand, or like they're oily or something like that. But this feels like a legitimate release, and he's not somebody that I would have paid all of that money for. But for $22, absolutely more than worth it. So I'm gonna place him down here, and I have the 185 somewhere here in the Marvel vs. Capcom pose. These hands are from Marvel Legends, actually. I saw somebody on Reddit swap the hands out. I think they look a lot better because the Mafex hands always look a little small to me. But anyways, let's pose him in a neutral pose to see how much bigger or smaller he is. You can kind of see his legs are a little, like this knee's a little wonky, and it's still, I've done everything, shock oil, hot water, soap, I've tried everything, but that knee still gives me problems. So it kind of takes away a little bit from the pleasure of picking him up every time and trying to pose him, because I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have to deal with that knee. So he just kind of stands in the Marvel vs. Capcom display in that pose forever. But yeah, so that's about as neutral as I can get him on this setup. I feel like it's a little far away, so maybe you can't see. But I mean, yeah, you can kind of see, like, the Mafex, the original, is definitely taller. Maybe let's put them back to back. I think it'll be more apparent. but against the white background, it's them standing neutrally. And so the original Mafex is bigger, but not all that much bigger, you know? And I think with the posing, you're not really going to see much of a difference, like if at all. I have this Ultimate Peter Parker Marvel Legends. And so you can see, like, they're actually kind of similar in height. Which actually, you know, doesn't look all that great. He shouldn't be that short, but whatever. Here is a Renew Your Vows Spider-Man, who most people say is too big. I've never really minded. I guess, I don't know. There's something about the figure that just really wins me over. So, yeah, he looks pretty big next to the Ben Reilly Spider-Man. Oh, there's Paul Atreides in the distance. Maybe get him out of the way. What else do we have? I'm gonna show his size next to CT Toys Wolverine. I kind of had him in that McFarlane pose from the comic cover where Hulk is reflected on his claws. And I'm gonna put him back in that pose as soon as we're done here, but let me try to stand him neutrally. What was cool is, you know, this actually was my first CT Toys. I think this Ben Reilly Spider-Man is my third. But yeah, he looks shorter than Wolverine, which I don't love. I always liked that the CT Toys Wolverine was smaller than apparently the original, because he should be smaller anyways. But dang, now next to Wolverine, he does look particularly small. This is kind of like Ben Reilly if he had this costume in Ultimate Spider-Man. You know, Peter Parker during high school, going through the Clone Saga. That you look at their shoulders. I would say, like in real life, like Wolverine's almost like a good 4 inches taller than Spidey here. Okay, well, let's try. Lastly, this is the CT Symbiote Spider-Man. You gotta get the angle right, but he's supposed to look like the McFarlane cover. You can tell what I'm a fan of, I guess, just by looking at these, but let me get him in a neutral pose. This is what I mean about the Mafex. Look, it's just like it's like a wristband, and then with web shooting out of it. Not my favorite. I think with these also, like some of them, I'm gonna try with the Ben Reilly Spider-Man in a moment. But you can kind of stretch their limbs a tiny bit, like they do have drop-down legs, and then their torsos kind of give a little bit of room to. Well, he just fell over. They do give like a little bit of room to. Let me just take this off. A little bit of room to stretch, and maybe that'll help with the proportions. I mean, at this point, when they're this small, any little bit helps. Cause yeah, look, he's it's not even like a perspective thing. Cause I'm gonna put him as close to on the line as possible. That's basically the same depth, and if I prepared better, I would have like a ruler or something for you guys to see. Maybe this will work. But like, there's touching Renew Your Vow Spider-Man, and then there's like this gap in height, and even more so with the Ben Reilly, of course. Excuse how amateur this all is, you know. This is my first video. But yeah, anyways, that aside, the scaling aside, let's see if he stretches a bit on his legs. Kinda. His torso. Well, he came right off, but the point is to like pop it on so that it stays, but still enough that it kind of clicks, but it. I think I stretch one leg longer than the other. Okay, so here I stretch his legs up a little bit with the drop downs, and it's not all that obvious. I mean, kinda, but it puts him a little bit closer in height to the symbiote Spider-Man. But yeah, I have a lot of the Marvel Legends Sinister 6 over here. He's gonna look small. Compared to them. They're on basically the same line on the ground there. Mysterio looks pretty big compared to him. But, yeah, not that bad. I think, you know, when I pose them, he's gonna be like in midair or something like that. So it's not going to be so apparent. And I think it's like the best part about it is that once you pose them, it totally looks like a comic panel. Like, you don't need to worry about how I'm not going to have them standing side by side, basically. Like, they're not in a line or something. He's going to be jumping into action or whatever. I'm going to pretend that he has like web shooting hands here. Just for now. I'll pose him better later, but let's get a stand. I like these little stands from Amazon because they have a circle base at the bottom. They have really good balance, and they don't take a lot of room at the base, so you can like get a bunch of them lined up together. Tighten the joints a little too much. But yeah, you know, like there he is. And he's here in midair. And he looks awesome. You know, like you'd be hard pressed. I mean, some of the proportions, but maybe not hard pressed if you're into the hobby. But you know, you see this on the shelf, and you're like, oh, well, cool. That's a Ben Reilly Spider-Man suit, and it's an import. It has good paint, good articulation. Kind of, he stands out compared to like the Marvel Legends articulation and stuff. So, you know, overall, I like him. I guess like my conclusion is that he's awesome despite the slightly smaller size. I've ordered the Mafex 001, Andrew Garfield Amazing Spider-Man Mafex. Should be here pretty soon. And from what I heard is that he's not going to be so small in scale. He's not going to be so shrunk down. I mean, the current offering from CT is totally passable for me. Like, I would continue to buy them. I actually have a 185 that I also ordered around the same time as this, so that should be coming in soon. And I ordered him just to kind of have him pose on the desk. I have that the original. I have him in the Marvel vs. Capcom display, but I kind of want to have one on my desk just to like mess around with and pose, and you know, not be so kid gloves. Not that the Mafex, I've always told that the paint rubs off, and I've had this for about a year, and the paint hasn't really rubbed off anywhere noticeably. The spots would be like here on the waist is where they say, around the joints, especially in the armpits, but so far so good. And I do pick them up, you know, like I don't like play with them or anything like that, but I see them occasionally, I pick them up, I pose them, put them in a different pose on a different stand or something, and yeah, he's been here a year. So far so good. So, you know, I think maybe it's probably a combination of both. Maybe some people are rough with their figures, and some people get just have bad luck and they get a bad paint job on theirs. But yeah, in any case, subject of the mini review or first look or whatever. But that's him. He looks great. Let me try that other head piece here. It's a little tight. Hold up. Okay. Yeah, that looks pretty cool. That looks pretty cool. I would not mind displaying him with just without the mask. That's a nice head sculpt. I doubt that the head sculpt will fit naturally on like a Renew Your Vows Spidey, but yeah, wait till you see this. Well, it won't even stay on. he's gone. Okay, let me go get that. Usually have some tack lying around. Well, whatever, but the point is, it looks like this. So, nah, it was never gonna work. But on the smaller body, it does. And like I said, you know, when you pose him, put him on a stand, perspective kind of takes over, I guess. And your perception of him is that he's not too small, even if side by side he is. And yeah, that's all I can really say about that. The other head sculpts, they're not as exciting to me. Maybe the PS4 one. Sorry, the PS5, I believe. I think they are different from PS4 and PS5. The heads, the eyes, slightly. Doesn't really look so great on this. The reds are very different. I don't like the way that looks. Some people were saying that this goes with the CT 185 Mayfix Spider-Man. So when that comes in, maybe I'll pop it on. But either way, it's not really like my favorite head sculpt. And if I was going to pose him, I'd probably just use the Ben Reilly head, or I'll use the, what is it, Mark Bagley? Or is it McFarlane? Oh, the big eyes. That looks a lot better. But yeah, hope that was somewhat informative for some of you. You know, thanks for even clicking on the video if you did. I rambled for a good while there. I'm good at that. Good at rambling. So I'm hoping this year, kind of one of my resolutions. I'm very into the hobby. I collect a lot of Marvel Legends, a lot of imports. Jada, who doesn't love Jada? And so I'm hoping to maybe put some content out there. See if anybody listens. Promise that a better setup than this is coming up. This is kind of just on the fly because he arrived today, so I was like, okay, let me get a video out there. If hopefully it's somewhat informative for somebody. But guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys later.